Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar series of Techtalk-With-AFO. Firstly, I want to appreciate everyone finding time to join this interesting conversation. Today's webinar series is in partnership with Digital. Techtalk-With-AFO webinar series is primarily set up to empower youth, sharing skill sets that would add value to you at your present place of work, or skill set that you also on your own can decide to implement to make money on the side. Today we are embarking on a quest to unlock the secrets of prompt engineering. Yes, prompt engineering. Some of you might be familiar with it, but today we would take a deep dive into this conversation. It's a concept that promises to revolutionize the way we approach creativity, problem solving, and innovation. This webinar is not just about learning techniques or acquiring new skills. It is about tapping into the deepest recesses, acquiring new skills. It's about unleashing the full force of our creative potential. It's about breaking free from the shackles of conventional thinking and exploring the boundless realms of imagination. Again, like I said earlier, this conversation will be facilitated by my own very good friend, Kester, the founder of Digital. Kester comes with a wealth of experience in the digital space, and he's going to be sharing with us all those tools to ensure that you communicate better and you also offer digital services that is unique and different. So I want you all to pay attention. At the end of today's conversation, I want you all to have the information that will set you apart from your peers. Like I said at the beginning, this is going to be an interesting conversation, and I want you all to stay from the beginning to the end. It's an initiative of Techtalk-With-AFO, and our primary objective is to empower you as much as we can. So let me just give you a very quick rundown of the conversation before my friend Kester, the facilitator of this session, takes over the conversation. We will be introducing you to prompt engineering. What does it entail? When we say prompt engineering, is it just about ChatGPT, right? How can you use AI to better whatever you are doing? Are you a designer? Are you a developer? How can you have good prompt engineering skills? We'll introduce you to it. We'll go from there to basic terminologies. From basic terminologies, we'll break down the entire skill set on prompt engineering. And of course, like I promised in the tweets and posts that went on this particular interesting webinar, that the quiz we are organizing is not just any other quiz. Is a quiz that you stand to win a laptop, which is my signature. You're winning a laptop if you come out to be the best after all the quizzes would have in between the session. There's also going to be a practical application where you would all have an hands-on experience on how to have a good prompt and how to give AI the right instruction and get the right feedback. And most importantly, and I'm sure a lot of you are looking forward to it, is how to make money with prompt engineering skills in the digital space. A lot of people are making money every day, and I don't want you to be an exception. I would also be available to take questions from you. So my buddy Kester, your students are waiting for you. They want to hear from you. They want to listen to all this interesting conversation and some of the skill set some of them will be hearing for the first time today. Once again, thank you, Kester, for making out time to make this happen. Right? I know it's a big sacrifice on your part, and just like me, you are also as passionate about transferring knowledge as much as you can. So I will see you guys on the other side after Kester takes over. Thank you.
Thank you, Afo. It is really an honor to be here as a facilitator for this webinar, Prompt Engineering for Creatives. Honestly, one thing I would say is I consider as part of my driving forces, right, is to, as much as possible, pass the knowledge, the information I have to others, young people like myself, right, that I know would really benefit from this information. Because truth be told, prompt engineering as a thing, as a skill, is one of those skills where you know that it's going to continue remaining relevant in the future. Prompt engineering actually goes beyond creatives, just as the title of this particular webinar suggests. It cuts across several industries, right? And the way we used to have it, right? Or even in some organizations now, where we tend to still have it, where one thing that would elevate or give you more value as a professional is that you have Microsoft Excel knowledge, right? Microsoft Office, all those Word and so on and so forth. Now, just like the way that would help in your interview, during your interview session at that company, the way for forward-thinking business owners, forward-thinking CEOs, forward-thinking managing directors, and so on and so forth, right? That understands these things. They know that what they need from you mostly, like in terms of that background skills, be more than that Microsoft Office skill, Microsoft Word skill, is prompt engineering skill, right? This is the new soft skill that you want to have, right? Because it definitely adds value to yourself as a professional, especially as a creative. I want to believe most of us here watching these videos are creatives, because of course that would be your reason for staying on the video for this long. So I have a slide to share with us. I want to present this, and I want us to really look at it and see some of these interesting things I've been able to put together for us. It's going to be a fun one. So, prompt engineering for creatives. Now, Techtalk-With-AFO is, the YouTube channel, of course, where you're watching this video now. AFO has taken it upon himself to embark on this journey, to embark on this mission where he wants to bring on board and expose as much of our youth as possible to the future of technology. This is something he's very passionate about, and good thing Overland Digital as a company is in line with this as well. And that is one of the reasons why we have all come together to prepare this webinar for you, this training course on this particular hot topic. Right now, if you prompt engineering is one of the most searched for when you use the whole Google analytics to make this. You'll find that the rate of increase, right, if you come from previous years down as to how much prompt engineering is getting in that search, that in itself would immediately tell you the way it's going to go, right? So moving on, I'm just going to present this. So right here, I'm going to take us through the course outline so we can have an understanding of, the way the course has been carefully broken down to get us to understand exactly, what prompt engineering for creatives, as the subject suggests, is all about. So we have introduction, creativity with AI, right? Some years back, when you mentioned creativity, you probably will not be thinking of AI like as the next brother, of course. But today, when you say creativity, AI is almost in line, because these two now, to a large extent, for various ranges of whatever it is you do, right, industry, they both work hand in hand. Now, we of course have the welcome and the course overview. We have I put something down. I said, where creativity and AI converges. Understanding prompt engineering for non-technical creatives. Now, when you see that term or that tag, prompt engineering, some of us might, already start thinking, oh, I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, I don't need this and all that, right? But guess what? Whether or not you have coding skill, you know how to write code or this, or you don't, right? You can still afford to pull this off. You can still afford to acquire this skill and practice it in anything you find yourself doing, right? So next up, we have basic technologies, the AI, NLP, GPT, LLM. We'll look into these things. What is prompt engineering is what I have next, because I chose them to dive into it, right? Crafting effective prompts for creatives. I did some breakdown there, hands-on exercise, right? We're going to have theories, yes, but to a large extent, I want us to explore practicals, like based on practicals. I'm going to engage you, we're going to work together, and we're going to get to see the outcome, right? Real time. Break session, of course, we're going to have a break session where you just go to relax. And then during this session, there will be a quiz that I'll be dropping. And just as Afo mentioned earlier, there is going to be a winner out of the participants of the quiz. And the winner will get to go with a laptop, right? So stay tuned for that one. Then after we come back from the break, we're going to have most likely on the second section, I will call it the second half of this, we're going to have a more hands-on exercise on the quiz. From the entries that I would have gotten, we're going to make some practical experimentations, right, to see more things. So AI models, that's, you want to find out what a model is in MPL. You want to find out what a token means, like what are these things? What is a temperature, right? In the context of MPL, in the context of ChatGPT and all that. So we look at, I just highlighted a couple of these AI platforms, AI solutions for you. There's so many more, like the DAL-E, the BAR, there's a lot more out there. So this should be like a cue for you to make your research, to start making your research, right? We have practical applications and industry insight. Of course, we're going to discuss how this skill is practically applicable across various industries, right? Future trends and continuous learning. One thing I'm going to keep emphasizing is that your learning doesn't stop. Let me tell you something. You have gone through this course from A to Z. Oh, great, right? You understood it completely. Awesome. But guess what? You are not yet ready to say you are an expert prompt engineer. No. At the very least, what you can say is you now have a basic fundamental understanding of prompt engineering to further guide and aid your learning journey, right, on prompt engineering, because this is just the beginning. Right. So of course, after that, we're gonna have Q&A sessions. You get to ask me questions and I'll respond. And in the closing remarks, I have something in particular that I want to share with you that has to do with the important skills that I think are necessary for us to possess as people beyond whatever skill we are doing now to further enhance our efficiency, our effectiveness in job delivery, right? So let's dive into the whole thing. So for the first thing we have here, of course, introduction, creativity with AI. So we're going to discuss all of these things that's seen here. So for the overview now, I just highlighted 4 questions, right? I just highlighted 4 questions to ask ourselves. 3 questions, actually. What's in store for you? That's the first question. Yes, you saw this training somewhere online, someone told you about it, or you stumbled upon this video on YouTube, and now you're here. You have been here, you've stayed up to this point, right? What exactly are we saying is in store for you? As a creative, right? Having this base slash foundational understanding of prompt engineering is going to be the propelling factor to a future, so long as you are intentional about learning and you are dedicated, right? It is going to be the basis for a propelment to a future of yourself being efficient, right, and effective in your service delivery. I'm always particular about that, especially as creatives, right? We have a lot of demand. Sometimes we get clients that doesn't even know exactly what they want, but they just expect us to be creative, right? But that is the job. So creative, whether in this angle, you can be creative in various things, right? So this is what I believe is in store for you if the heart and mind is set in the right place. Who is this for? I mean, obviously, that goes without saying. This was primarily made for us creatives. And at the same time, this can also apply to other industries, to other areas, other aspects of profession, right? It's not limited to creatives alone. Now, why AI and creativity? I spoke about in the course outline, I was talking about why I decided to merge this. So all of this, we're going to get to see as we move on. So let's quickly dive in. Where creativity and AI converges. The intersection of creativity and AI refers to the point where artificial intelligence technologies and creative processes converge. It involves leveraging AI tools and techniques to enhance, augment, or even generate creative output across various domains, such as art, music, literature, design, and more. Now, I'm sure some of us might be like, music. Trust me, trust me, guys. There are so many platforms out there that upcoming artists, musicians can use, right, to get real inspiration, sound inspiration, whatever kind of inspiration that would trigger a talent, right? But of course, as a musician, you yourself, you got to have the talent, right? But the point is, these things are existing, right? They exist. And what you need, whether you are a musician or you are a poet or you are a writer or whatever it is you find yourself doing in the creative space, you have to ensure that in order to properly apply these AI tools to, you make use of these AI solutions and all that, your understanding of prompt engineering has to be on point, because that is what will help whatever it is that you are doing, right? Your the way you want to put out your prompt, you want to put out your query to that chat GPT in such a way that you want the results to capture it exactly how you want it, right? Whether it is chat GPT or whether it is one AI for musicians, understanding the basics of prompt engineering is essential to getting the best kind of results, right? Moving on. Understanding prompt engineering for non-technical creatives. Right, honestly, most of what I've said has pretty much covered the art of prompt engineering. And one other thing I would say, which I've also made given light to earlier, you don't have to have a coding experience. You don't have to know how to write code, right, to be able to acquire this skill, even though having that in its own way has its own advantages, right, like Python scripting and the likes, but that is for later. But as it is now, right now, like, you can afford to function optimally as a prompt engineer without necessarily having a coding skill per se, right? So we also have, just like I said, no tech jargon zone, right? How it works in layman terms. One thing I've been able to do here is I've carefully taken my time to ensure that whatever it is that I'm putting out here is going to be done in simple layman language, so we can all understand each other. Because even me myself, I'm tired of hearing all the many jargons online. Oh yeah, you see big. So this is not necessarily about all of that. It's just getting straight to the point and pointing out to you what is, right? So we are going to also get to craft effective prompts, right? And we're going to see practically how this is done. So the second thing we have here are the basic terminologies that I think are essential for us all to to know. Now, AI, of course, I don't think there's anybody who has access to the internet today, this day and age, that doesn't understand what AI means, artificial intelligence. Now, NLP, this is one of the backbones. This is one of the backbones of this whole prompt engineering, right? Natural language processing is basically that's I call it like an engine, so to say. It's like that engine that allows you to interact with whatever AI platform, like as though you are talking to a human being, right? So whatever it is you want to talk about constructing your prompt and this, the prompt engineering, blah, 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 right? It is only possible because of this NLP, right? Now, GPT, generative pre-trained transformer. So again, just like AI, I think everybody already at this point knows what this means. LLM, we have the large language model. So we'll get to check into these things as we move further in here. Now, what is prompt engineering? So just like I said, I kind of put this response out in such a way that even a 10-year-old perhaps might be able to understand it, right? Because again, I am more of it being as simple as possible for us to get straight to the point. So what is prompt engineering? Imagine you have a super cool robot friend who loves drawing, and it's your job to tell it what to draw. That's what prompt engineering is all about, really. But to go further, instead of using tricky codes, whatever code you want to write or something, just use your words, like telling a story. So prompt engineering is like using your words to make your robot friend bring your creative ideas to life. So let me use my own explanation. Not so. There is this robot friend you have, robot Bebop, for example. Now, what robot Bebop's primary objective is to do is to simply bring your ideas to life, bring whatever creative ideas you have to life. That is its core purpose. In this context, what it will need as its food, right? Meaning what it will feed on to give you your ideas, to bring your ideas to life, is your words. Your words, that thing you tell it, the way you tell it. Now, in this case now, where it becomes a bit tricky, the way you give the system your prompt is how it determines your answer. So a lot of times you see people saying, oh, I don't like ChatGPT. ChatGPT is, they are too official, they are too robotic. That is simply because maybe what you've been doing has been at the basic level of using tools like this. Because if you say it for ChatGPT, then you could as well say it for many other AI softwares as well, platforms as well, right? So honestly, it all boils down to the engineering of your prompt. And again, this is what we are going to be delving into to look at. Now, of course, as a sub, we have creating the effective prompts for creatives and hands-on exercise where we get to experiment, right? Let's quickly move on. Now, crafting effective prompts for creatives. Now, generally, I see that we have two types of prompts, right? Now, this can be subjective, right? Meaning you could have someone else come with another POV on this, and that might even make sense too. So, but the point is, in a general sense, there are basically two types of prompts. We have the prompt by examples, and we have the direct prompting. Now, of course, I'm going to still go further into these things to shed more light. Choosing your words wisely. You give it a role, you give it details, you add emotion and style, you give it the chance to ask questions, giving it a role. Now, I want to paint this scenario to you. Say, imagine there is a person, he has health issues, right? And he needs to seek advice, he needs to seek consultation. Who do they go to? Who would they go to? A doctor, right? A licensed doctor, a nurse, could be a medical practitioner, someone in the medicine sphere, in the medicine space, right? Why is that? It's simply because that is the person's role. They should know what to say. They should know what to advise, what to instruct you on, right? So in that same sense, look at it in this way. Whatever prompt you are giving to whatever software, whatever platform you are using, AI platform you are using, right? ChatGPT, for example, you have to start by giving it a role. It needs to understand the kind of person you want it to be able to give you accurate answers, or rather, a well-informed answer. Now, give it details. The details, you have to be specific. You have to clear the bush with your details to ensure that you are sylphing whatever other elements, whatever other factors, you are excluding factors that might have influenced his response that will give you a different result from what you really want, right? And in these details, you, of course, have your emotions there and the style. Now you give it a chance to ask questions. You put everything, and let's say it's possible that with everything you put up, the system is giving you an answer that you're not really happy about. But asking it to ask you any further questions if it needs more details is going to allow the system to point out those things they feel they need. And once you see it, you would immediately understand that, oh, this will actually help. And you then provide those information and it gives you, what you want, right? So moving on. So this is our hands-on exercise, right? I have pre-created 4 prompts here, and I'm just going to quickly come out of the presentation. I have 4 prompts here, right? We want to, one after the other, we want to look at each of these. So I have this guy. Now, don't forget, here I said there are generally 2 types of prompts. Prompts by examples and direct prompting. So prompts by examples, we have this guy. Let's go to OpenAI Playground and do some experiments, right? That is what this platform is for. At least one of the reasons why we have this. You can afford to experiment, strengthen your your prompt engineering skill. You have a lot of elements and tools here you can use to aid that, which of course we're going to be getting into shortly. So let me paste this. Here I have my question. How many states are in Nigeria? And I've given it like the example answer that I require of it. The number of states in Nigeria is 36. Now, this is what I'm telling the system, answer me in this format. So now let's ask a question. How many states are in the USA? Let's see that. Let's see what comes up. Answer, the number of states in the USA is 50. Look at this. The same format, the same way. Why? Because I gave it an example. It's working with that example. If I come here to add a message and just simply say, let me get the example from here, right? How many states are in Nigeria? Because this is prompts 2. You have prompts 2 here. How many states are in Nigeria? This is referring to the direct prompting. Now I'm not giving it an example anymore. I'm just asking it straight up. How many states are in Nigeria? So let's come back to Playground and ask that question. So instead, I want to say how many states are in the USA because I actually want it to answer the same question. Right. Now let's see the way the response is going to come out. There are 50 states in the USA. Can you see the difference? Here we have the number of states in the USA is 50, just as I stated in my example. But where I didn't give an example, there are 50 states in the USA. Still answering the same question, but in a different way. So again, if you look at it like this, like, oh, this is quite simple, it's because I chose to give this example at the basic level, right? If you can just imagine how far this could go, right? Where you have a result, you have something you needed to give you at a higher scale, at a higher level, and you are giving it an example, right? And it gives you in the exact format that you specified, whether in table or whatever, right? As opposed to direct. But again, this might seem, oh, you're starting to see some things, but this is not nearly all there is to prompt engineering, right? We're going to get to see more as we move further. So moving on, we have prompt 3, right? Give me 5 blog titles on digital marketing. This time around, I want to go directly to ChatGPT So I'm sure we are familiar with this interface, the ChatGPT. So let me paste that question. Give me 5 top blog titles on digital marketing. So it's going to list the 5 for me, and look at my responses. Mastering the art of SEO, strategies for dominating search engine rankings, the rise of influencer marketing, harnessing the power of social media, and so on and so forth, right? Now, these are not bad. These are fair um, top blog titles, but guess what? I like to be unique and I like to be exceptional, right? And I want something much more groundbreaking that is likely to help me convert better and faster, as opposed to having what is likely a generic kind of topic or title for blogs on digital marketing, right? So let me come back to show you another example. So prompt 4 now, I went ahead to create my own prompt, right? Still around give me 5 top blog titles on digital marketing, but with the application of prompt engineering. So let's see the difference in results. So now, if I try to write my answer here, I mean, rather, if I try to give my prompts here in this already existing panel, um, the system is going to factor in the previous prompt. It's going to somehow matter. It's going to be a factor, right? And this is not, so the way around this I have seen so far are 2 ways. The first is to simply ask it to ignore my last message or prompt, something like that, right? And then you put your, but the second option is to just simply go over and start a new chat. But you don't want to start a new chat every single time you have something new you want to say, right? You're just going to have so much on this list here. But again, that is just by choice. So what I would choose to do now is to come to a new chat and paste my prompts. Now, I want you guys to pay careful attention. I'm going to read this out step by step. You are an expert in writing high traffic and converting blog posts about digital marketing. Now, what does this talk about? That role. Remember I mentioned role, having a role, right? That is exactly what this guy talks about. You need that role to serve as just like I mentioned with my hospital, my medicine analogy, right? The system needs to understand that this is the kind of person that should be giving this answer, right? This is the kind of person, this is the role of the person that should be able to give the correct answer to this. Now, it doesn't stop there. You also have the details. Think of catchy and attention-grabbing titles that will get people to click and read the article. The title should be short, concise, and direct. They should also be creative and clever. Try to come up with titles that are unexpected and surprising. Do not use titles that are generic or that have been used too many times before. If you have any questions about the blog post, ask before you generate any titles. Right. So before I even talk about this last part, looking at this section, it has gone so far into the details of exactly what I want. I have cleared the bush. I have specifically told it the kind of things to avoid so I don't get the kind of results that I know I would not want, right? I said do not use titles that are generic or have been used too many times before, and a couple of other details there. This is the details, and if you check it, you have the emotion and style in it. It has been displayed here already, and the system will pick it. If you have any questions about the blog post, ask before you generate titles. This is the last part I mentioned, which is, about asking it to get its feedback, right? To get its feedback before it gives you its final answer or something, right? That is pretty much the essence, and it's very important. A lot of people omit this aspect, right? But it's necessary. So Now that we have this, let's look at the kind of results that we're going to get. Unleash your brand, the stealth strategies dominating digital marketing in 2024, digital magic, how numbers are revolutionizing marketing, pixel wars, beyond clickbait, the art of crafting content that captivate and convert, right? Look at this. So from hero to zero, navigating the uncharted territories. Now, from clearly, you can see that these are unique titles, right, to blogs around digital marketing, right? It has been able to break it down. It has been able to present it in such a way that, oh, now I know that I'm dealing with something unique. It's not commonly used, but again, because it understands the importance, I've given it specifications, certain specifications. It is going to give me relevant titles that has a good chance to rank at the same time, right? So, so this is clearly the difference in this exercise, and this is as far as it goes. So moving back into the training slide, I'll move to the next slide here, and we have our break session. And of course, this is the time where you get to just go on a short break, rest up, and there is a quiz session. The break is going to last for 10 minutes, right? And there's a quiz attached to that period where I'll be asking you this question, and I'll be expecting your responses, rather giving you this task as a quiz, right? And be expecting your responses, to come in the on this session, so I can collect it. Then after we finish, of course, if you have questions, you can throw it to me during the break. I'm going to address that. You understand? But after we finish this particular break and we come back to resume for the next round, we are going to experiment practically on some of the responses that you guys would be dropping. So what is the task? What is this quiz? Create a prompt focused on analyzing data related to social media trends within the digital marketing field. Now, this is the task. You do this, you come up with a prompt based on some of the things I've mentioned so far, right? You come up with a prompt and you present it, and we work with it.